One important thing that brought conflicts between the colonists and British were the Intolerable Acts, which took place in the year 1774 in Boston, Massachusetts.
The Intolerable Acts were five laws that were passed by the British Parliament against the American colonies in 1774. The five different laws were the Boston Port Act, the Massachusetts Government Act, the Administration of Justice Act, the Quartering Act, and the Quebec Act.
Boston Port Act was the first Intolerable Act passed. It was direct punishment to the city of Boston for the Boston Tea Party. The act closed the port of Boston to all ships until the colonists had paid for the tea they dumped into the harbor. Many felt that this punishment was unfair because it punished all the citizens of Boston for a crime that only few committed.
Many of the other American colonies sent supplies to Boston. The Parliament passed the Boston Port Act on March 25, 1774. After the events of the Boston Massacre, General Gage had said that America is a mere bully from one end to the other, and the Bostonians by far the greatest bullies. The next act is the Massachusetts Government Act. This act changed the government of the colony of Massachusetts. It gave more power to the governor, who was appointed by Great Britain, and took away power from the colonies. Many of the government officials that used to be elected by the people would now be appointed by the governor.
It also said that only one town meeting a year could be held. This act angered the entire colony of Massachusetts and put fear into the other American colonies. If the British government would do this to Boston, they may do it to all the colonies. The Parliament of Great Britain passed this act on May 20th, 1774.
The next law is the Administration of Justice Act. This act allowed the governor to move capital trials against government officials to Great Britain. The colonists felt that this act gave too much protection to government officials.
Witnesses would have to travel all the way to Britain to testify against an official, making it nearly impossible to convict. Some colonists called this the Murder Act, as they thought it would allow officials to get away with murder.
The fourth act is the Quartering Act of 1774, which expanded upon the original Quartering Act of 1765. It said that the colonies had to provide barracks for the British soldiers. In the case where barracks weren't available, the soldiers could be housed in other buildings such as barns, hotels, and homes.
The fifth and final act is the Quebec Act. It expanded the British Canadian territory south into the Ohio Valley. It also made the Quebec province a Catholic province. Although this act wasn't in response to the Boston Tea Party, it was passed at the same time as the rest of the acts. It also angered many American colonists. They were not happy about losing land in Ohio or at having a Catholic province to their north.
So, as we can see, the Intolerable Acts definitely had an impact on the conflict sparked between the American colonists and the British. We can clearly see this because the laws were annoyances that disrupted the government and economy of Massachusetts, and really the whole of America. The Americans had to pay for what few did and had to stop production of one of their main revenue lines for some time because of the Boston Port Act. The government in Massachusetts became like that of the communist government because of the Massachusetts Government Act. So on and so on. There you have it, the ever so intolerable act.